I wasn't supposed to be home at 11:43 p.m. My meeting had ended early. The keycard in my trembling hand slipped as I pressed our bedroom door open. And there she was. Sarah. Standing in front of the mirror, wearing nothing but one of my shirts and a look that shifted from guilt to irritation the moment she saw me. Her phone was propped on the nightstand, video call still active. A man's face glowed from the screen. Mark. Her personal trainer. My voice cracked with disbelief. Sarah, what the hell is this? She didn't flinch. Didn't even try to end the call. Instead, she smirked. It's exactly what it looks like, Jake. I'm done pretending. Mark's voice came through the speaker. Babe, maybe you should hang up. But Sarah raised her chin, eyes blazing with defiance. No. Let him hear. I took a step closer, fists tightening. You're on a video call with another man? In our bedroom? Don't act shocked, she snapped. You've been boring me for months. Mark makes me feel alive. You just exist. The world blurred around me. But what came next, what she said when I finally confronted her, that's what destroyed everything. Because 3 days later, my wife would look me in the eye and say words that would haunt both of us forever. My body belongs to Mark, not you. But to understand how we got there, and what I did next, you need to know where it all started. My name is Jake. I'm 34, an architect who'd spent the last decade building a successful firm in the city. 8 years ago, I married Sarah thinking she was the love of my life. We met in college. Dated for 3 years. Built what I believed was a solid partnership. She worked in marketing for a major downtown firm. We had the house, the cars, the Instagram perfect life that made our friends jealous. We were that couple everyone thought had it all figured out. But 6 months before everything exploded, things started to shift. Sarah became distant. She'd come home late, claiming work stress and deadline pressures. She joined a gym and became obsessed with fitness, which I actually encouraged because I thought it was healthy. She bought new clothes. Changed her hair. Started wearing perfume she'd never worn before. When I'd reach for her at night, she'd turn away. I'm exhausted, Jake. Or, I have a headache. I asked her what was wrong at least 100 times. Are we okay? Are you happy? Talk to me. Every time, she'd brush it off. I'm fine, Jake. Just stressed. Work is crazy right now. I wanted to believe her. I worked long hours too, landing big architectural projects, trying to secure our future. I thought we were both just going through a busy season. I was an idiot. But then came the Tuesday that changed everything. Sarah told me she was going to Seattle for a 3-day marketing conference. I kissed her goodbye, told her I loved her, watched her drive away. That afternoon, I needed something from her car. We'd taken mine that morning and she'd left hers at home before I drove her to the airport. I found a hotel receipt in the center console. Local hotel. Downtown. Dated from last week, when she'd claimed to be at her sister's place. My hands shook as I held that receipt. There had to be an explanation. Maybe a client meeting. But why lie about her sisters? I went inside and pulled up our phone bill online. My stomach dropped. Over 200 calls and texts to the same unknown number over the past 3 months. Late night calls. Calls during hours she was supposedly in meetings or at the gym. I sat on the edge of our bed, that receipt still in my hand, staring at the phone records on my laptop screen. My chest felt hollow. My breathing shallow. I knew what this meant. I just didn't want to believe it yet. But I needed proof. Real proof. I hired a private investigator the next morning. His name was Davis, former detective, came highly recommended. I paid extra for a rush job. My wife said she's in Seattle for a conference, I told him, sliding Sarah's photo across his desk. I don't think she is. Davis nodded slowly. And if she's not, then I need to know where she is. And who she's with. You sure you want to know? Some guys, they're happier not knowing. I met his eyes. I need to know. All right, Davis said, pocketing the photo. Give me 72 hours. Those were the longest 3 days of my life. I went to work. I smiled at clients. I drafted building plans. And every minute, I wondered where my wife really was. Who she was really with. Sarah called me twice from Seattle. Both times, I heard noise in the background that didn't sound like a conference. Music. Laughter. Once, I swear I heard a man's voice close by. Where are you right now? I asked during the second call. At the hotel bar, she said smoothly. Networking with other attendees. You know how these things are. Yeah, I said. I know. Friday afternoon, Davis called. You available? I think you'll want to see this in person. My hands were shaking when I walked into his office an hour later. Davis placed a manila envelope on his desk. Before you open this, he said quietly, I want you to know, whatever you're feeling right now, it's valid. Take your time. I opened the envelope. The first photo showed Sarah. Standing outside a hotel, not in Seattle, but right here in the city. She was laughing, her head thrown back, looking happier than I'd seen her in months. The second photo showed her with a man. Tall, muscular, younger than me. They were walking into the hotel together, his hand on the small of her back. The third photo was them kissing in his car. Her hand on his face. His hand in her hair. I couldn't breathe. His name is Mark Sutton, Davis said. Age 30. Personal trainer at Elite Fitness Gym. The one your wife joined 6 months ago. According to my research, he's been her trainer since day one. He slid more photos across the desk. Timestamps, locations, dates. They've been meeting at hotels twice a week for the past 4 months, Davis continued. Always the same pattern, she texts him in the morning, they meet in the afternoon, she comes home to you at night. I stared at the photos. This woman I'd loved for over a decade. Kissing another man. Smiling at him the way she used to smile at me. There's more, Davis said carefully. I ran a background check on Mark. He's got a pattern. This isn't his first affair with a married client. He's done this before. Multiple times. Does he have a wife? I asked, my voice hollow. Davis nodded slowly. Wife and 2 kids. Lives about 40 minutes outside the city. She thinks he works long hours training clients. Something cold and hard settled in my chest. I need more, I said. I need everything. Davis looked at me carefully. You planning something? I'm planning to protect myself, I said. She's been lying for 4 months. I need to know exactly what I'm dealing with before I confront her. Davis nodded. Smart. I'll keep digging. Over the next week, while Sarah thought I was clueless, I documented everything. Davis provided detailed reports. Hotel receipts, dozens of them. Text message records showing hundreds of communications. Photos of them meeting, kissing, entering hotels together. But I wanted more than just photos. I needed to understand the scope of this betrayal. I hired a forensic accountant to review our finances. What she found made my blood run cold. Sarah had opened a separate bank account 3 months ago. She'd been funneling money into it, small amounts from our joint account that I hadn't noticed. Over $15,000 so far. But worse, she'd forged my signature on a $50,000 home equity loan against our house. The money had gone into that separate account. My accountant confirmed the signature wasn't mine. "That's fraud," she said quietly. "You could press charges." I stared at the documents. Sarah hadn't just cheated. She'd been planning her exit. Stealing from me to fund her future with Mark. Every night, I came home and acted normal. I kissed her hello. Asked about her day. Listened to her lies. "How was the gym?" I'd ask. "Great," she'd say, not meeting my eyes. "Mark pushed me really hard today." I bet he did. But I wasn't ready to confront her yet. Because I'd learned something else, something that would make my revenge perfect. I called Davis on a Friday night. "I need to know their future plans," I said. "Are they just sleeping together, or is this more?" "Give me a few days," Davis said. What he found was devastating in a whole new way. Mark and Sarah weren't just having an affair. They were planning a future together. Davis had intercepted text messages between them discussing Mark opening a high-end private gym, using Sarah's money. My money. One text from Mark to Sarah read, *, "Once you're free and the divorce settlement comes through, we can make this happen. Your investment will pay off, babe. We'll build this together. *. Sarah's response, "I can't wait to be done with Jake and start our real life. He'll never see this coming." I read those messages 3 times. She wasn't just cheating. She was using me. Planning to divorce me, take half of everything I'd built, and use it to start a new life with her personal trainer. I sat in my car outside my own house, staring at those messages on Davis's tablet. Something inside me went cold and clear. Fine. She wanted to plan her exit. I'd plan mine first. I called the best divorce attorney in the city. His name was Robert Chin, expensive, ruthless, never lost. Monday morning, I was in his office at 8 a.m. with everything. All the photos. The financial records. The forged loan documents. The messages. Robert studied the evidence carefully, then looked up at me. "Mr. Peterson, you have a prenup, correct?" "Yes. We signed it before the wedding. It protects my business and any assets I had before the marriage." "Good. With this evidence, particularly the fraud, she'll get nothing. No alimony, no asset split. You'll keep everything." "I want more than that," I said quietly. "I want consequences." Robert smiled coldly. "Then let's talk strategy." We talked for 2 hours. And by the time I left his office, I had a plan that would destroy more than just my marriage. I didn't confront Sarah immediately. Instead, I let her think everything was fine. I came home with flowers. Took her to dinner. Acted like the loving husband she was betraying. She relaxed. Got bolder. Her late work nights became more frequent. Her texts to Mark less guarded. Meanwhile, I prepared. Robert filed the divorce papers, but we held them, ready to serve at the perfect moment. I reported the forged home equity loan to the police. Filed a fraud report with supporting documentation. I contacted Sarah's HR department, anonymously, with detailed evidence of her affair with Mark, who was contracted through her company as a corporate wellness trainer. Their relationship violated the company's strict fraternization policy. I froze our joint accounts, legally, with Robert's guidance. The house was in my name alone, purchased with my inheritance before our marriage. I had full legal right to it. I canceled credit cards, transferred utilities, changed passwords on all our shared accounts. And then I waited for the perfect moment. Sarah came home from a late meeting on a Tuesday night. She was glowing, practically bouncing through the door. "You seem happy," I said from the couch. "Just a good day at work," she said, kissing my cheek. The kiss felt like poison. "That's great, babe." I smiled. "Hey, I was thinking, let's have dinner Saturday. Just the two of us. We haven't had a real date in a while." Her face flickered with something, guilt, annoyance, but she smiled. "That sounds nice." "Perfect," I said. "I'll make a reservation." What I didn't tell her, Saturday night was when her entire world would collapse. Saturday evening. I made dinner at home instead of a restaurant. Steak, wine, candlelight, the works. Sarah dressed nicely, actually made an effort. For a moment, I remembered the woman I'd fallen in love with. Then I remembered the photos of her kissing Mark, and the feeling vanished. We ate. Made small talk. She told me about a client presentation that had gone well. Another lie, her company had her on a performance improvement plan thanks to my anonymous tip. After dinner, I poured more wine and sat across from her at the table. "Sarah, I want to talk about us." She tensed slightly. "What about us?" "I feel like we've been distant lately," I said carefully. "I want to make sure we're okay. Are you happy?" She looked away. "I'm fine, Jake. Just busy with work." "Are you sure?" "Because if something's wrong, I want to fix it. I love you. I want this marriage to work." For a moment, just a moment, I saw something like guilt cross her face. Then it hardened. "Jake, I appreciate that, but I'm fine. We're fine." "Okay," I said. Then I stood up and walked to the kitchen, returning with a manila envelope. I placed it on the table between us. "What's this?" she asked. "Open it." Her hands shook slightly as she did. I watched her face drain of color as she flipped through the photos. Her and Mark entering hotels. Kissing in his car. Walking hand in hand. The phone records. The financial statements showing her secret account and the forged loan. "Jake, I can explain." "Don't." My voice was steady. Eerily calm. "Don't insult me with lies. I know everything. For months with Mark, your personal trainer. Hotel visits twice a week. You told me you were at conferences, at your sister's, working late. You looked me in the eye and lied." She closed the folder. And then, instead of shame or remorse, I watched her face shift to anger. "You had me followed," she snapped, standing up. "You spied on me. What gives you the right?" "What gives me the right?" I felt my calm starting to crack. "I'm your husband, Sarah. You made vows. You're never here," she shouted. "You're always at work, always on some project, always putting your career first. You don't see me anymore, Jake. You don't touch me, you don't look at me. I'm invisible to you." "That's bullshit and you know it," I said, my voice rising for the first time. "I've asked you 100 times what was wrong. I've begged you to tell me if you were unhappy. I suggested marriage counseling 6 months ago and you said we didn't need it. You chose to lie. You chose to cheat instead of communicating with your husband. Mark makes me feel alive," she said, her voice dropping to something almost cruel. "He sees me. He touches me. He makes me feel desired in ways you never have. The words hit like physical blows. I gripped the back of the chair to steady myself. Then why are you still here? I asked quietly. She looked away. I'm figuring things out. Figuring out your finances, you mean? I threw the bank statements on the table. I know about the separate account. The forged signature on the home equity loan. You've been stealing from me, Sarah. Planning your exit while I was working to build our future. Her face went pale. Jake. So fix this, I said, my voice shaking now. End it with Mark. We can try therapy. We can. She laughed. Actually laughed. Why would I end it? She turned to face me with an expression I'd never seen before. Pure contempt. My body belongs to Mark now, not you. The room went silent except for the ceiling fan cutting through the heavy air. What? I whispered. She stepped closer, her voice cold and deliberate. You heard me. My body belongs to Mark. It hasn't been yours for months. He knows what to do with it, Jake. He knows how to make me feel like a woman. You never did. I can't even stand the thought of you touching me anymore. Something inside me shattered. I stared at this woman I'd loved for over a decade, and I didn't recognize her. I'm only staying until I figure out my finances, she continued. This marriage has been dead for a year. I'm done pretending. She grabbed her purse and walked toward the bedroom. Where are you going? I asked. To Mark's. Where I actually want to be. She paused at the doorway. I'll get my things tomorrow. The door slammed. I stood in that dining room for what felt like hours. I felt grief, rage, humiliation, betrayal, all of it crashing over me in waves. But then something shifted. The pain crystallized into something cold and sharp. She wanted to destroy our marriage. Fine. But she'd learned that destroying me came with a price she couldn't afford to pay. I didn't sleep that night. I planned. Sunday morning, Sarah texted, *, I'll come by Tuesday to get my things. Please don't be there. *. I didn't respond. Monday morning, 9 a.m., I was back in Robert Chen's office. She said what? Robert asked, looking up from his notes. Her body belongs to Mark now, not me, I repeated. Those were her exact words. Robert leaned back. And then she left to go to him. Yes. Perfect. He smiled coldly. That's abandonment of the marital home. Combined with the adultery and fraud, this is going to be very straightforward. We filed for divorce that afternoon. Every piece of evidence attached. But I wasn't done. The forged loan, I said. I want to press charges. Robert nodded. Already prepared the documentation. I'll walk it over to the DA's office myself. And one more thing, I said. Mark. What about him? I want his life destroyed too. He's not just some innocent bystander. He's been planning a future with my wife using my money. And he's married with kids. His wife deserves to know. Robert considered this. I can't officially help with that. But hypothetically, if someone were to provide his wife with evidence of the affair, there's nothing illegal about that. I pulled out another envelope Davis had prepared. Photos, hotel receipts, text messages, everything clearly showing Mark's affair with Sarah. Hypothetically, I said, I might send this to an address you provide me. Robert wrote down an address on his notepad and slid it across the desk. Mark's home address. Hypothetically, he said, that would be within your rights. I mailed the package that afternoon. Priority delivery to Mrs. Jennifer Sutton. That same afternoon, I made another call, this time to Sarah's company. I'd already sent the anonymous tip about the fraternization policy violation. Now I followed up with a detailed formal complaint, no longer anonymous, including dated evidence of the affair and Mark's pattern of sleeping with clients. Mr. Peterson, the HR director said carefully on the phone, I want you to know we take these matters seriously. We've already initiated an internal investigation based on the previous information we received. I'm not looking for her to be fired, I lied. I just think the company should know they have a contractor who's been using his position to seduce married clients. It's a liability. We appreciate you bringing this to our attention, she said. We'll be in touch if we need any additional information. They didn't need to be in touch. Sarah was fired by Wednesday. Mark's contract was terminated immediately. But the Betrayal explosion came Tuesday morning. I got a call from an unknown number. A woman's voice, shaking with rage and tears. Is this Jake Peterson? Yes. Who's this? Jennifer Sutton. Mark's wife. Her voice broke. I got your package. My chest tightened. I'm sorry you had to find out this way. You deserve to know. How long? She asked. My investigator tracked it back 4 months. But based on the evidence, your husband has done this before. Multiple times with different clients. She let out a sob. We have 2 kids. 2 little girls. And he's been, with all these women. I'm sorry, I said, and I meant it. She was a victim in this too. Thank you for telling me, she said quietly. I filed for divorce this morning. I'm taking everything. The house, the cars, full custody. My attorney says with this evidence, he won't fight it. Good, I said. You deserve better than him. So do you, she said, and hung up. I sat at my desk, staring at the phone. The dominoes were falling. All of them. Tuesday afternoon, Sarah used her key to enter the house. Except her key didn't work. I changed the locks Monday morning. She rang the doorbell. I watched her on the security camera but didn't answer. She called my phone. I let it go to voicemail. Jake, what the hell? Open the door. My key doesn't work and my stuff is inside. I texted back, check the garage. Her belongings were in boxes in the garage. Everything she'd brought into the marriage. Nothing more. She called again, screaming this time. You can't lock me out of my own house. I answered. It's not your house, Sarah. It's mine. Purchased before our marriage with my inheritance. Check with your lawyer. This is illegal. You can't just. Divorce papers are in the garage too, I said calmly. You're being served. And you might want to call your job. Oh wait, you don't have one anymore. Silence. What did you do? Her voice was shaking now. I told the truth. About you and Mark. About the fraternization policy violation. About the fraud. About everything. You bastard. You ruined my life. No, I said quietly. You ruined your life when you told me your body belonged to another man. I just made sure everyone knew what kind of person you really are. Mark and I are going to. Going to what? Be together? I laughed bitterly. You might want to check with Mark about that. His wife knows everything too. She's taking the kids, the house, everything. He's about as broke as you are now. The line went dead. I watched on the security camera as she collapsed against her car, sobbing. Then she drove away. Over the next few days, I learned through Davis what was happening to Mark. Jennifer had filed for divorce immediately, using every piece of evidence I'd provided. She got an emergency restraining order. Mark was removed from the house. Without his wife's income, she was a successful lawyer. Mark couldn't afford his lifestyle. The gym where he was a trainer fired him when they learned about the multiple client affairs. Legal liability, they said. His expensive car. Leased in Jennifer's name. Repossessed. His apartment. He couldn't afford rent without his contract income and client base, which evaporated when word spread about his behavior. Within 2 weeks, Mark was living in a friend's basement, facing divorce proceedings that would leave him with nothing, and blacklisted in the fitness industry. And here's where it got beautiful. With Mark now divorced, broke, and desperate, Sarah expected him to commit to her. To be the man she destroyed her marriage for. She called him. Texted him. Showed up at the gym before he got fired. He ghosted her. Turns out Mark had never wanted a future with Sarah. Davis's deeper investigation revealed Mark's pattern: seduce wealthy married women, get them to invest in his business dreams, sleep with them, take the money, move on to the next target. Sarah was just another Mark. When his life fell apart and the money dried up, he had no use for her anymore. The irony was poetic. She'd destroyed everything for a man who'd never loved her. Who'd been using her from the start. And when she realized it, she tried to come back. 6 weeks after I'd filed for divorce, Sarah showed up at my office. Security called up first. "Mr. Peterson, there's a Sarah Peterson here to see you. She doesn't have an appointment." I almost said no. But something made me agree. Send her up. She looked terrible when she walked in. Hair unwashed, pulled back in a messy ponytail. Face pale, eyes red and swollen from crying. She'd lost weight, too much weight. She was wearing old jeans and a sweatshirt I recognized as one of mine from college. "Jake," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Thank you for seeing me." I gestured to the chair across from my desk. "You have 5 minutes." She sat down slowly, like it hurt to move. "I made a mistake. A huge, terrible mistake. Mark, he's not what I thought. He used me. He never loved me. I see that now." I said nothing. Just watched her. "You were right about everything," she continued, tears starting to fall. "He was scamming me. Taking my money. Planning to disappear once the divorce was finalized. I was so stupid, Jake. So incredibly stupid." "Yes," I said. "You were." She flinched. "I know you have every right to hate me. But please, can we talk about fixing this? I love you. I never stopped loving you." I leaned back in my chair. "No, you don't love me, Sarah. You loved security. You loved the house and the lifestyle and the safety net. But me? The actual person? You stopped loving me the moment you told me your body belonged to Mark." "I didn't mean that," she said desperately. "I was angry, I was trying to hurt you." "Well, you succeeded," I interrupted. "Those words will stay with me for the rest of my life. Every time I trusted you, every sacrifice I made, every moment I thought we were building something together, you threw it all away. And then you told me I was inadequate. That another man knew how to handle you better than I ever did." She was sobbing now. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'll do anything. Please." "It's too late for sorry," I said quietly. "The divorce will be finalized in a few weeks. You'll get nothing. No alimony, no assets, no claim to the house or my business. The prenup and your fraud guaranteed that." "I have nothing, Jake," she whispered. No job, no money, Mark won't even talk to me. My parents won't speak to me. I'm living in my car. I have nothing. You have exactly what you deserve, I said, standing up. Now please leave. I have work to do. Security escorted her out. I watched from my window as she got into her old car, the one I'd bought her, one of the few things she'd kept, and drove away. I felt nothing. No satisfaction. No guilt. Just emptiness. 2 weeks later, I got a call at 3 a.m. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Jake. It was Sarah's voice, weak and slurred. Jake, I need you to know I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I ruined everything. I can't do this anymore. There was something in her tone that sent a chill through me. Sarah, where are you? It doesn't matter, she said, and I could hear her crying. I just wanted to tell you, you were right. About everything. I destroyed the best thing in my life. And I can't live with what I've done. The line went dead. I sat there in the dark, phone in my hand. I knew what she'd done. Or tried to do. Part of me, a very small part, considered calling 911. But a larger part, the part that remembered her contempt, her lies, her complete destruction of our marriage, stayed still. I went back to sleep. The next afternoon, I got a call from County General Hospital. Mr. Peterson. This is Nurse Williams from County General. Your wife, Sarah Peterson, was admitted last night after a suicide attempt. She's stable, but she's asking for you. Can you come down? I closed my eyes. I'm not her emergency contact anymore. We're divorced. Call her parents. She says her parents won't come, the nurse said quietly. She has no one else, Mr. Peterson. That's not my problem, I said. I'm sorry, but I can't help her. I hung up. But I did send something to the hospital. A bouquet of white lilies, funeral flowers, with a card that read, asterisk, you chose this path. Walk it alone. Later, I heard from a mutual friend that when Sarah received those flowers in her hospital room, she completely broke down. The nurses had to sedate her. Was it cruel? Absolutely. Was it too far? Maybe. But she'd shown me zero mercy when she destroyed everything we'd built. The divorce was finalized 3 months after the hospital incident. Sarah got nothing. The prenup held. Her fraud negated any possible claim to alimony. She lost everything. She pleaded guilty to the forgery charges and got 2 years probation, restitution payments of $50,000, and a criminal record that destroyed any chance of returning to her marketing career. Last I heard, she was working retail in another city, living in a small apartment, trying to rebuild a life from ruins. Mark fared no better. Jennifer took him for everything in their divorce. He lost his kids, she got full custody. He lost his house. He couldn't work in fitness anymore after his reputation was destroyed. Meanwhile, something unexpected happened to me. My firm won a major architectural award for a project I'd been working on during the divorce. The recognition brought new clients, bigger projects. And then I met Emma. She was an interior designer hired to collaborate on one of my projects. Brilliant, creative, and most importantly, honest. We started working together, then getting coffee, then dinner. She knew about Sarah. I'd been upfront about the divorce. That must have been brutal, she said during one of our early dinners. It was, I admitted. But it also freed me from someone who never really loved me. Her loss, Emma said, reaching across the table to squeeze my hand. 6 months after my divorce was finalized, I proposed to Emma. She said yes. We were married a year later in a beautiful ceremony, starting fresh, building something real. A year after I married Emma, I got a message through a mutual friend. Sarah wanted to talk. She'd seen the engagement announcement online and wanted to reach out. I didn't respond. But 2 weeks later, she found my new address somehow and showed up. Emma answered the door. I was in my home office when I heard voices. I need to speak to Jake, Sarah was saying. Please. Just 5 minutes. I don't think that's a good idea, Emma said calmly. Please, Sarah begged. I just need to tell him something. I came to the door. Emma looked at me, eyebrows raised in question. It's fine, I said. I'll handle it. I stepped outside, closing the door behind me. Sarah looked better than the last time I'd seen her. Her hair was done. She'd gained some weight back. She was dressed nicely. But her eyes still carried that hollowed-out look of someone who'd lost everything. What do you want, Sarah? I saw that you got married, she said quietly. Congratulations. Thank you. Is that why you're here? No. She took a shaky breath. I'm in therapy now. Working through everything. My therapist suggested I try to make amends with people I've hurt. I'm not interested in amends, I said. I know. But I need to say this anyway. She looked at me directly. What I did to you was unforgivable. The cheating, the lying, the stealing, all of it. But the worst part was what I said. About your body belonging to Mark. About